Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Minecraft Revamp video. And before we get into this, I want to point something out because in the latest updates we have now fireflies. And that means that I can go back to the swamp and show you how it looks with the fireflies. And the firefly bushes really give this place more life, and it actually looks very cute. And I'm so sad I couldn't add this when I first made the swamp, but now I can show you guys how it would look like with extra firefly bushes. Oh yeah, it just adds more to it. And I'm very happy that they finally added the fireflies. And now we're going back to the topic of the day, and that's of course the Savanna biome. And well, the first things first, Savanna is just a Savanna. This video took me quite some time to make, not because it was just so much work. Well, it was a little bit of work, but also because I really had to think about what do I even add to a Savanna? Because if you really think about it, let's go to the vanilla Minecraft Savanna first, and let's talk about what I was thinking about. So here we are in the Savanna biome, and as I was saying, if you really think about it, then a Savanna is just like a plains. It's the same thing as a normal plains area, but then with some acacia trees and some different animals. So what can you change? Because if you look at it in the real life, there's plenty of animals there, and I can't really add that, not yet at least. I can't really add new animals to the game and be like, oh look, now we got giraffes or now we got zebras. So what can you do to the savannah? Because obviously a savannah isn't really the most interesting place on Earth. It might look beautiful, but it's not really that much going on. Because after all, there's always room for improvement. And even on the thing I did, there's still room for improvements. So let's see what I have right in here. And the first thing you'll probably notice is a big ass tree over there. And that's a Baobab tree, or whatever you pronounce that.
Baobab.
Apparently it's Baobab. Baobab. Yeah, whatever. It's a very big tree. It can reach 70 meters in height. And they can get very wide as well. And they are, well, not common in Savannah, but they exist and they're absolutely beautiful. They are very straightforward, really very straight in the sky, and then they're spread out in bigger branches. Just as you see over here. So it's not really that complicated to generate, and it's a very simple form. And just, I think that will be a nice addition to the Savannah biome to make bigger trees. And you can make them rare enough so they don't spawn everywhere. So it's not one big forest, but let them spread out very occasionally, like you would have with maybe, those azalea trees. You don't really see them often either, but they're still there. So make it something like that. Other than that, you probably noticed, well, that building over there. We'll get to that shortly, because there are other things that are smaller, but also some details that I do think is quite important to look at. And that is the bedding of the entire biome. So it's a switch up with normal grass blocks and also some red sand and some coarse dirt and granite or some rock formation that makes the ground look drier, because Savannah is not the most humid place on Earth, so there are quite a lot of dry patches. And maybe that can be switched off with bigger fields and smaller fields. This one's a small field, but maybe you want to have a big field of a dry patch if that area doesn't have a lot of water. Because we basically do that already in mountains. Sometimes we get that a patch of grass, and next to that there's a patch of stone. So I think it's pretty easy to implement in vanilla itself. Other than that, there is also an area here with a muddy area where all the animals come to drink. That happens because sometimes the environment in the savannah has some kind of clay ground, which makes sure that the water stays there more easily than in the ground nearby it, and therefore you can sometimes create some small puddles. Also a small thing that I added, it's not because I love them, but it's a firefly, and these actually also exist in the savannah. But they are kind of dying out, because in the savannah you also have quite a lot of mosquitoes, and they use some kind of toxic to battle the mosquitoes, and therefore they're also killing the firefly, because they're well, prone to the same chemical and kill both of them, sadly enough. But they still exist, and I like to keep it that way. Then another small detail that I added, which you probably didn't really notice that easily, is the acacia tree. Some of them are a little bit taller. I think that's more fitting for acacia trees. They're not always that small as they are in Minecraft right now. The cedar tree we have right now aren't too bad, but I just wanted to upgrade them just a tiny bit without going overboard. And then the final thing, we got this little shrine over here. And this shrine has a puzzle built in. And if you know Minecraft, then you probably know what the puzzle is. Because you see those copper bulbs and they're not here without a reason. I did a little bit of redstoning, probably not the best redstone you've seen in your life, but I think it works. I tested it before and it did work. If you time this right and you do the right one and then the left one, or left one and the right one, then you should be able to open a door. And sometimes you gotta like play with it. Oh, there you go. That's it. Kind of like a puzzle, so it's not easy. It's like a combination. You can also use the back one, so it would also work. But it's an either or situation. So they're basically, if you look at the redstone of this thing, they're basically two redstone lines with like a, well, there's an observer looking at this and activates another bulb up here. This is kind of like a T-flop, which triggers whenever you activate it. And the same thing is on the other side. And it goes all the way to the back, and if only both sides are active, then it will shoot something against, oh, there's like a thingy. There's like dispenser with the wind charge, and it maybe like only add one, so you can only open it once. And once that activates, the dispenser shoots a wind charge against a button, and that button triggers these double piston extenders down here, which are connected to the slime blocks and to the thingy over here. And of course you can just break in this shrine. You can always do that in Minecraft, like everything that exists you can break into, like a jungle temple. You can break into a desert temple, you can just break into that. So is it possible to break in and take the loot? Yes it is, but it's always fun to have like a little extra thing going on. Also free slime, yay. In here there is, well, what you expect to find in a shrine really, like a roll of gold, like some kind of offering, as well as emerald and diamonds, which you can also see as some kind of offerings. And then there's also some kind of other arts and goods, like some pottery, some books, maybe a pattern of some kind, a tag and a saddle. To keep things a little bit more interesting and, well, I guess it's more fun, is a rabbit spawn egg, because you really sometimes want to have rabbits, but they are such a hassle to bring to your base. I think it will be not too overpowered to make this a rare drop, so you can actually take the rabbit with you and put it in your base like that. As well as with the armadillo, it would be nice to bring that one along with you. And then there's a totem of undying, to make it more, well, rewarding, I guess, to find these shrines, because these are kinda remind you of some kind of Inca totem, you know. And in the Savanna, maybe they have like an altar where they also make some kind of totems that have like spiritual value. Therefore I thought like maybe that's a good thing to add here. And the other thing was just self-explanatory, the Dune Trim, maybe not exactly the sniffer egg, but maybe it's like an older ancient being can only escape from an egg, and therefore I thought like maybe add like some kind of egg. It don't have to be a sniffer egg, maybe it's like something else. And a music disc is always nice to add to these as well. Okay, there we go. Close again, fix it. Yeah, so these are obviously not meant to be resealed again, but it does work. You can't reseal them, but if there's only one wind charge back there, of course it's only gonna work once. And there's one final small thing I want to talk about before I end this video, and that is of course the grass. Because what you see is all the wheat, and you probably noticed that it is wheat, and you're like, why would you have wheat there? Well, it was not my intention to have it as wheat. My intention is to have it as like some kind of dried up grass which you have in Savanna. Like the grass we have these days in Minecraft isn't really yellow enough, in my opinion, to make it Savanna grass. So, and there we have it. That's my small revamp from the Savanna. I know it ain't much, but honestly, what would you add to the Savanna if it's not for animals? There isn't really that much you can do in a big area which is grass and trees. And therefore I did what I can, and I'm kind of proud of it. I think it looks better, and I hope you think so too. Anyway guys, have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.